welcome to my channel. I am 28, recently unemployed, so I found myself with a lot more free time as I'm trying to find a real job, and I've been reading a lot, and because of that, found myself with not a whole lot of people to actually talk to about the books I'm reading, besides my dog. So figured I would create this to actually talk about some of the books I'm reading, feel like a normal human. So yeah, that's why I'm making this. Maybe I'll make more. Maybe I'll realize it's a huge mistake and never do it again. We'll see. For now, here we are. I figured I'd start by talking about some of the books that I've gotten for Book of the Month Club. I got it as a gift in December from my parents. So 4 books in right now, haven't gotten May's. Don't even remember what I picked for May. It should come in the next couple of days. So I've got my little stack here and we can dive on in. As far as for me, I am a reader of all genres. I don't have any specific ones that I love or hate. Really, I kind of go across the board. I've been leaning a little bit heavier into the fantasy these days. My first little toe in the pond was A Court of Thorns and Roses last year. My sister got me basically a book of the month that she picked out. She picked out 12 books. I opened one each month, and I got that first book last year, and I enjoyed it. It felt like it was fantasy, but it wasn't like heavy fantasy. It was like light for me, it seemed, so because it was more romance. So that kind of dipped my toe in the pond, like I said, and I read that whole series, and I've read a little bit here and there of other stuff. So that's what I've been reading a lot lately. Always reading those quick little spicy books every now and then. They're just quick, easy reads. I like historical fiction sometimes, so it really depends on my mood. I read pretty often. I think I'm at like 48 books this year so far. But like I said, got a lot of free time. So without further ado, the first book I got was The Fury. I got this book, why I picked it, not sure, because I got his first book. I don't know if it's his first book, but the first book I read of his last year was The Silent Patient, and I didn't love it. It was, spoiler alert if you have not read it, if anybody's watching this, it had an unreliable narrator, and that's, I found, not for me. If I can't trust you, I don't want to read a whole book about you. So didn't love that. For that reason, I was out. Similar vibe here. This is more like Agatha Christie inspired. It kind of was like, oh, it's not, but like it really was. So I don't know. I just felt lied to. And also, which I find is funny, is Jimmy Fallon has this on his like new book club thing. Don't know why he picked it. Very interesting to me. A lot of other better books out there, but what can you do? So this was not it for me. It was fine. It was a quick read, but like, wouldn't recommend it to anyone that asked. Not a huge fan. So I did not start off strong with my pick for this year, this book club. The next book I got I really enjoyed. I think it's been my favorite so far. It was The Heartless Hunter. This fantasy, it's like a fantasy romance, enemies to lovers, little tropey thing here. But I really did enjoy it. It's like she's a witch. Of course, you know, the enemy is the witch hunter. It was like an interesting, like, magic-y stuff with like blood. I don't know. It was a little weird that I had never read something like this, but I really, really enjoyed it. I like sped through it and was like wanting the second because it's gonna be a series. It's the first in the series, but of course, you know, hasn't been written yet. So I'm looking forward to the next one. But because I was like loving it so much, I was like, let me read some of her other stuff. I'm not gonna pronounce her name right, but I read, I think it's called Edgewood. I was like, oh, loved it so much, let me try this out. Hated it. No, I don't want to say hated it. I did not love the other book. It was like a modern world fantasy. So like, it was like, I think it was like the US or Canada or something, and they had, I think, like cell phones, and like it wasn't for me. The main character was like a singer, and something about it just really I was not into. It took me forever. Not a big fan. But needless to say, I am looking forward to the second of this series. The Crimson Moth series is what it's called. So looking forward to that. We'll see. The next book, I don't have the physical copy. I gave it to my sister, but it was called A Fate Inked in Blood is the one I picked. Another fantasy, but this is like a Norse fantasy. So Vikings. Never read a Viking book, but I did like it. The only thing for me with that book is that it was like a lot of little battles. So it was like big build up to like a small fight scene, big build up, small fight scene. So I wish it was like a couple of longer battles, because the few that did have longer battle scenes I enjoyed, but it was just like a lot of little fights. So that kind of was interesting to me. It got really a bit more like spicy romance near the end of it, but all in all, it was a good book. It was fine. Again, not my favorite that I've picked. It was she's the winner so far, but it was good. It's also going to be a series, so I will continue with that series. It's not one that I'll like give up on by any means. I'll definitely keep reading. The next book that I got was Darling Girls, Sally Hepworth. This one I did enjoy as well. It takes place, I believe, in Australia. At least in my head it was Australia. But because it kind of gave me the vibes of Leanne Moriarty. I know all her books take place in Australia, but the movies and TV shows take place in California. Don't understand that, but whatever. Anyway, kind of gave me that vibe, but this was like a foster parent mother and her 3 foster children that she takes in, and basically it's the 3 kids when they're adults having to go back, and you kind of get both storylines from when they're children and then they're adults, and kind of the aftermath of living in like a pretty messed up, wild situation, kind of giving was it Mommy Dearest vibes. But it's very, like, I liked it a lot. So I think I will definitely read more of Sally's books. It was very interesting to me, so really enjoyed this, recommend this one a lot. Like I said, the next book I got, I'm not sure, I don't remember. I wasn't a huge fan of the pick, so I just kind of like selected one. I think it fantasy, because that's what we're here for these days. So we'll see how it goes. And in the meantime, before I get that book, I am right now reading A Little Life. Nervous, very nervous. It's taking me forever to get into it because I've built it up in my head that I'm gonna sob, because I know nothing about the book other than the fact that a lot of people cry when they're like giving reviews on Instagram or whatever, saying that it's like sobbing, absolutely sobbing. And I am not a big crier in real life, but I cry a lot, and not a lot. If a book is sad, I will cry. So it's taken me like a week, and I'm 40 pages in. So we're continuing on that journey. But yeah, so I don't know if anybody ever is gonna watch this, or if I will ever get the nerve to actually post this, or know the technological to actually post it. So if anybody out there watches this and has any book recommendations or cares my opinion, let me know, because I might just start making little clippies of books that I really liked or that I didn't like. Especially, like, I found a lot of those like book talk things that like people go feral over just like aren't for me, and I'm sure there's other people out there that have similar tastes, because I know everybody has different tastes, so of course they're good for some, aren't for others. But just my opinion, like I'm not gonna get into it. But yeah, if anybody cares, here we are. Thanks for watching. What do they say? Like and subscribe. Probably not, because who knows if I'm ever gonna post this at all. Anyway, thanks for watching. Yeah, maybe I'll update you again.